This is the West Michigan Sports Show, presented by the United States Air Force. Now, here's your host, Brandon Wirth.
In honor of Masters Week, hello friends, and welcome into another episode of the West Michigan Sports Show, brought to you by our great friends at the Car Center in Rogers Heights. Brandon Wirth joining you here live over the airwaves on Saturday. Now, you're hearing my voice on Saturday. I will warn ahead, this was pre-recorded on Thursday and Friday. I'm headed to Pennsylvania while you guys enjoy this weekend of great competition we have on deck, and we got a great show for you to preview all of that on deck. We'll recap the scores back from this week, as well as get you up to speed on where these teams stand after their 2 weeks of regular season under their belt. Well, thanks to Mother Nature, maybe 1.5, maybe 1 1/3 for all of our great math friends out there. But we'll get you up to speed. We'll get you some matchups and some competitions that you should highlight on your calendar for the upcoming week, as well as we have a great interview for you. Brand new coach on the track, Theresa Sims of Reed City Track and Field, will join us here on the show, talking about their team's expectations, what they're looking forward to this season, as well as for her decision to lead the Reed City Coyote program. Great interview. You guys don't want to miss it. That'll be in the second part of the show, so stick around so you don't miss out. But before we get into the local scoreboard, we'll break down all of our great friends that make this show possible, those being our local sports supporters and sponsors of the West Michigan Sports Show, which include the Mecosta Osceola Career Center, Moda the Mecosta Osceola Transit Authority, Paris Auto Sales and Service of Big Rapids, Alter Care Big Rapids, Quality Car and Truck Repair, the Schuberg Insurance Agency, and Johnson's Automotive. Thank you all for your support of this program. And if you want to be a local sports supporter, reach out to our sales team here at the Big Rapids Media Network, and we will get you hooked up with the local sports scoop. Not only on this show, we also got Behind the Bulldogs that you guys listen to over the airwaves before then. Your home for Fair State sports coverage every weekend on WBRN, as well as Spotify and Apple Podcasts. And our great show, our video show on YouTube, which is raving with hits, by the way. We've got so much good feedback. We can't wait to continue this expansion. We're still working on a lot of the things to really fully bring this show to life. But the rundown's been great. We had an interview with JT Scarpelli of Big Rapids Baseball and his unique diamond doctrine, if you will. His philosophy on the game, as well as his unique situation being the father to a newborn and still coaching high school baseball. Really cool stuff. You can find that on Big Rapids Daily News on Facebook or on YouTube at Big Country 100.9. You can subscribe. You won't miss out on any episodes of the rundown moving forward. And let me tell you this, it's going to be a good show. Me and Joe love to banter. And when we get to the summer, when we don't have scores to report, oh, it's going to be real fun. We're also talking pro sports in Detroit as well, so you can make sure you subscribe so you don't miss out on any of those episodes moving forward, and all of our sports coverage here at the Big Rapids Media Network, which if you want to be a part of, reach out to our sales team at the Big Rapids Media Network. You can find out more. Search our website, WBRN.com, for this show. You can find the contact form and reach out to our sales team. Reach out here to the station and we will get you hooked up with not only that, but all the great sports shows that we have here and all the great media coverage that you guys enjoy. But without further ado, we take you straight to the local sports scoreboard. We'll start back on April 5th with baseball. Lakeview falls to Greenville 11-1 in a 6-inning contest, as well as Reed City falls in their opener to Kingsley 11-4. Final score there. Tri-County falls in a nail-biter to Greenville 4-3. Also, by the way, Greenville is not green. I've just learned that they're purple, and it's kind of messing me up. Anybody else feel that way out there? Please let me know if I'm crazy to think that that's okay. No, I'm just kidding. But certainly a close matchup between the Vikings and the Jackets. Also, Reed City beating Kingsley in dominant fashion, if you may, 5-0. Your final in that one. Softball, also Reed City takes down the Stags, revenge style, 2-0 in 6 innings. So a win for Coach Stieg in the opener. Congratulations to him. Moving forward a day ahead to Saturday on April 6th. Speaking of Reed City, their baseball team took care of business, as well as their softball team took care of business. Baseball scores 5-4 and 12-8, both 6-inning games, as well as in softball, 15-9 and 14-4. Respectively, the final scores in that matchup against Mason County Central, the Spartans over there by Lake Michigan. Also in baseball, Central Montcalm splits with Greenville 9-0 loss, 13-2 win. Yep, that's just how baseball goes. Quite a bit of time. It's crazy to think about it, but all it takes is a different arm on the mound to change everything at the plate. Call me crazy. All my baseball fans know exactly what I am talking about. Then we move a day ahead. Nothing happening. Then we move a day farther ahead to April 8th. We got all sports of scores here for you. Cedar Springs takes down Grant in a mercy rule. So Cedar Springs takes down the Tigers in non-conference action, as well as Lakeview falls to Shelby 2-0. Tri-County beats Sparta 2-0. Chip Hills and Sacred Heart battled in girls soccer. It was the Irish over top of the Warriors 4-0 on the road. April 9th, these are all the up-to-date scores that we got for you here from the CSAA. We got Big Rapids over Tri-County, 19-5 and 12-1 was the score at the end of the second inning when the game was postponed due to darkness. We saw this a couple games across the board. Also in action, Grant splitting with Morley Stanwood, a 4-1 loss for the Tigers, but they get the 9-1 win on the road in Game 2. Newaygo and Chip Hills battled in conference action. It's Newaygo winning the opener, but Chip Hills wins the nightcap. 5-3 win for Newaygo and a 9-4 win for Chip Hills. Reed City and Central Montcalm, it was all Reed City in Game 1, 10-3. They win it, and they were ahead 3-1 after 2 innings in that second game. That will be most likely made up later on in this season, along with the Big Rapids Tri-County game. Big Rapids and Petoskey battled on the soccer pitch. Cardinals fall the first time this year against the Northmen of Petoskey. 3-0 the score there from Cardinal Stadium. But don't worry, Cardinal fans, your softball team got it back right. And yes, these scores are correct. Against Tri-County on the road, 17-0, 25-0. Coach Thompson has a really good team this year, and that only affirms what we were assuming in the preseason. So they look like the team to beat. However, Newaygo's offense might have something to say about it. They put up 24 runs against Chip Hills. Now, they did give up 12, but 24, one of the highest numbers we've seen this year, the second highest, obviously mentioning Big Rapids at 25. So 24-12 win for Newaygo there in game number 2, 9-5 win for them in game number 1 in 6 innings. Softball as well, Reed City against Central Montcalm. It's the Coyotes sweeping the Hornets at home, 7-4 and 10-8, your final scores in that contest. We also got track and field to report. I'm jumping down in my chair right now here on Tuesday from both quads, just from around the way. So Kent City and Big Rapids hosting respective quads. We got the score tallies for team scores. If you want the individual scores, you can hop on athletic.net and go ahead and search Reed City, Big Rapids, Tri-County, Lakeview, Newaygo, Grant, Big Rapids, Central Montcalm, Morley, Stanwood, Kent City, Lakeview, or Howard City, Tri-County to find all the individuals. I might have just said a couple of those schools twice, but when you have to try to memorize a list of 11, sometimes you might say one twice. So if your school's in there, you can find out more information on athletic.net. But we'll start with the one that was just on the way here from our studio at the Big Rapids High School facility, which, by the way, I could hear the megaphone and the speakers from my house. It was certainly a vibe. I will tell that. They had some fun over there at Cardinal Stadium. But we'll start on the men's side. These are all competitive scores, so it will be against one other school in respective, although it was one meet together. Lakeview beats Newaygo 89-46, as well as Newaygo beats Grant 94-32. Big Rapids beats Newaygo 95-36. Lakeview beats Grant dominant fashion 101-29. Big Rapids beats Lakeview 86-50, and they beat Grant 118-8. So Big Rapids comes out victorious on the men's side, going 3-0 there in their home CSAA quad invitational meet. Women's side, Lakeview beats Newaygo at the top of the tally, 84-51. Newaygo over Grant, 77-43. Big Rapids over Newaygo in a tight one, 69-53. Lakeview dominating Grant 103-29, as well as beating Big Rapids in what would say is an upset, 77-54. And the Cardinals take down the Tigers, 80-29. So Lakeview, your victorious, undefeated team on the women's side, going 3-0 against the other respective opponents. Now we go over to Kent City, where we had Central Montcalm, Morley Stanwood, and Reed City all heading over to the Eagles facility For the men's side, it was all Reed City. They win over Central Montcalm 89-44, over Moy Stanwood 96-37, and over Kent City 76-57. Those the scores there. And then Moy Stanwood takes down Central Montcalm 74-61. Kent City does beat Central Montcalm 97-39, and Kent City dominates Moy Stanwood 105-31. So Reed City wins it on the men's side. Now we go over to the women's side. Central Montcalm 83 over Reed City 49. Reed City does bounce back against Moy Stanwood 75-55, and Kent City over Reed City 89-42. Central Montcalm over Moy Stanwood 86-46. Kent City over Central Montcalm 70-59, and Kent City over Moy Stanwood 84-46. So you can add up the math at home. That's Kent City, your winner there in track and field action on the women's side in the first CSAA Quad of the season. Now, finishing out before we get to a break on April 10th, we got Big Rapids over Chip Hills in soccer action, 8-0 in a Mercy Rule affair. Tri-County over Grant, 5-1 your final there from Howard City. Newaygo falls to Lakeview at home, 4-0. And Reed City over Kent City, 8-3 at home. Your scores there. So, no scores to report tonight is on Thursday, as we had quite a few rainouts as well. Newaygo at Mason County Central was rained out and canceled. Ludington was also supposed to go to Grant baseball. That one was rained out. No word on the Kent City Holton game. So those are the scores that we got for you here on the show. So hopefully you guys enjoyed that. We're going to take a quick break. We're going to pay some bills here on the program live over the airwaves. When we come back, we will have the matchups that you want to have circled on your calendar coming up next week, as well as the full exclusive interview with new Reed City track and field coach Theresa Sims after this break here on News Radio WBRN. We return from our commercial break. Hey, thanks for hanging around, you guys, here for live on the airwaves. Big thanks to you as well for subscribing on all of our podcast platforms. If you ever missed the show, you can go on WBRN.com anytime, anywhere, as well as on Spotify, Apple Podcasts. Get to the search bar, search West Michigan Sports Show, and there will be a nice yellow square with the mitten outline and sports all in the emblem. And you can click on that, hit subscribe, hit follow, and you won't miss on any episodes here for the show. If you're here at 3:30 here on the weekends, great. If not, hey, don't sweat it. You're busy like I am. So you can take the show wherever you go. Post-production on all of our great podcast platforms. But we will get to the matchups that you should circle on your calendar for the upcoming week. Some good ones on deck, in my opinion, of course. One of them, especially, I think baseball, softball, when I look at the combos on the list, Newaygo Kent City is an intriguing one. I think there certainly could be some highly contested affairs there between the Eagles and the Lions. So 4 o'clock, 6 o'clock from Newaygo for both sides. That will be certainly interesting, as well as Big Rapids against Shepherd. I think that could be an interesting one. That one's going to be at Cardinals Field there against the Blue Jays in both softball and baseball action, 4 o'clock and 6 o'clock. Doubleheader once again. Also on April 16th, we got some golf action. Look at that. CSAA match, first of the season that I've heard of here in the conference. Grant will be hosting it at Lake Whitefish. I personally golfed that course. It is very scoreable, and I think it's going to be very fun. So you'll see some CSAA teams there on Tuesday, starting at 9 a.m. over there at Lake Whitefish at that golf course. Just tearing it up. I think we're going to see some cool scores right out of the gate. Hopefully the weather is good for all of our golfing friends out there. April 18th as well, some matchups to be on the lookout for. Ionia will be hosting Lakeview. Interesting matchup there in girls soccer, as well as in non-conference action, Lakeview against Hesperia. That at Lakeview, 4 o'clock, 6 o'clock there from the home of the Wildcats, baseball and softball. And finally, April 19th, girls soccer, we got Reed City hosting Manistee, as well as Muskegon hosting Newaygo. So that's going to be some big-time matchups. Both of those 5:30 from Reed City and Muskegon, respectively, as well as Grant Montague. That's one that I think could be a sneaky game. I really like those programs as athletic-wise, and I think we could see some good things there. Also, in boys and girls diamond action, baseball and softball, that is, M37 rivalry. You can circle that one. Grant against Newaygo at Grant, 4 o'clock, 6 o'clock. Be there, be square. Because rivalry is certainly fun when it comes down to the diamond. You can tell me from personal experience. It's going to be really fun. Also on the 20th, we'll also see Lakeview will be at Brookside. They're going to be hosting an invite with some CSAA teams, as well as we'll see a couple other teams that will be competing. Traverse City West will be in town to face off against the Cardinals in softball. Also, Track and field on deck. Another CSAA conference quad. We'll see Kent City hosting another one. This will be Tri-County, Big Rapids, and Lakeview. So some similar teams, but we'll have some shakeup there as well. As we will see also on the other side for the other quad, the big quad that will be taking place later on. I think one that certainly I think is going to be super fun to see. That will be at Central Montcalm. We will see Grant, Moy, Stanwood, and White Cloud will be taking place there from Central Montcalm. So those are the matchups to be on the lookout for. And now you're up to date. So big thanks to all of you guys for keeping our schedules hot on the MHSA websites, as well as all of your social media handles for me to get all of your scores. So thank you so much for that and for just being great fans, because without you guys, we wouldn't have a show. And it would be kind of depressing for me not being able to talk about high school sports because I love them. I love them so much as you guys do. That's why I do this show. But without further ado, we stall no longer. We get you to the interview room. A debut head coach in her first year with a program that has high expectations. That's right. Reed City Track and Field new head coach Theresa Sims is joining us about her opportunity to coach the Coyotes, their season projections, and what makes their team such a dominant force heading into this outdoor season. So without further ado, we send you to the interview room with Theresa Sims of Reed City Track and Field. All right, we'll get right into it here. So first question I have for you, Coach, thank you so much for joining us, especially for you, first-year coach. Congratulations for taking over the Reed City program. Just how does it feel to be the head coach with the Coyote track team, as well as what really was behind the process that you wanted to take the job?
So super excited to take over the reins as head coach. My dad was a coach, so kind of just following in his footsteps and helped coach my kids along the way through the years, but just want to help share my passion for track and field and to have more kids involved with it, to share in that joy and excitement that I have with the sport. The opening came up, so I applied and got it. So that was good.
For sure. And obviously you mentioned having your kids involved with running, and especially one on the team, two of them on the team right now. One of them will be eventually in Abraham. Just talk about especially the ability to now coach them for Anthony in his final year, as well as Andrew, just to be able to have that ability to coach your kids at the high school level.
And they have all been great. You know, that is a conversation that we had ahead of time, like before I ever coached. Going back to when I first started coaching distance with Abby on the team, had talked to them before, because I know sometimes it could be a challenge having a parent as a coach, but all my kids have been very supportive with me in wanting to take over this track team and take over as a head coach. They've all been very supportive and very understanding of, like, yeah, Mom, I think you'd make a good coach. So.
Yeah, that's awesome. And obviously, outdoor season just getting underway. Your first times outdoors here after a good indoor season. Just based on all the original thought of where a lot of the team was going to be at projection-wise and what you've seen already in the first couple of weeks, what have been some of the standout areas for your group, and especially the strengths that you see in this team going, especially thinking long down at the end of the season for postseason racing?
So on the girls, it's a very young team, have a lot of talented girls, but them being young and inexperienced, you know, sometimes they don't always like show it on paper and in results of like how well they're doing, but we've had 3 meets so far. So a lot of them girls have PR'd at all 3 meets, and they're just getting better. And by end of season, like, they're going to be on the board and putting up some numbers for us. So very excited about that for them. The boys side, I had very high expectations of them. We have some very talented boys that have come off from 2 stellar seasons with the fall with football and cross country, and then into basketball and wrestling the winter. And now, so a little bit of pressure on me that the boys have done so well, especially in the CSAA. So a little bit of pressure there that keep that sports team rolling there for Reed City. But I feel like these boys are definitely up to the challenge, done very well. I think our relays are probably the strongest part. Like, we have a lot of depth, which is great to give you that strength in your relays. So I look to see that. We had 3 kids that did indoor, Gus Rohde, Anthony Kianis, and Tyler Woodside. Tyler finished 8th at the state meet. I'm not sure where Gus finished in the state meet, but I know he finished well in the state meet, and Anthony was running with a 4x8 team from Big Rapids. They qualified for the state meet, and they went on to Adidas Nationals and finished 2nd in the nation. So that was pretty awesome.
For sure. And you mentioned the pressure part of it. Obviously, your first year as a head coach certainly has a little bit of the pressures of it, but you mentioned especially the distance crew, especially mentioned cross country in the fall, really expectations were high. Those guys and girls hit it with absolute best ability possible. But with that pressure, especially, what is the biggest thing that you're seeing with this group in this season, and just how are you addressing that, especially for a lot of the younger athletes as well? Like you mentioned on the girls' side, that really didn't experience that, but kind of getting into the season now, they kind of understand, like, yeah, this team has a lot of potential and they can go places with everybody on board.
Absolutely. Like, that girls' team works well together in, like, cross-country season. When you're watching that distance crew, you watch some girls come out of the woods and they were coming out in a pack. Haven't always been a strong distance team at Reed City, but we have a good group of 6 or so girls that, like, they're very strong, and it's nice to be able to see that on at Reed City. The boys team definitely did well in cross country, and they have absolutely dominated the first 3 meets that we've had. Like, they blew my doors off just as much as I had expected them to.
Absolutely. And the schedule, obviously, going to be heating up over the next couple of weeks once you guys get into 2, even potentially 3 meets a week. What are some of those, especially conference, I know is going to be one that's going to have high emphasis in the postseason, but what are some of those meets that you guys are really keying in on, looking for those big performances in preparation for a good performance when we get to the postseason?
Definitely want to do well with your conference meets. The boys came away with 3 wins from our conference meet the other day. Girls had 1 win. Big meets that we have coming up is our home meet on April 23rd, or 27th. My mistake. April 27th is our home invitational, and looking to get the kids out in front of the home crowd and letting them see, like, what these kids can really do. Shepherd on May 3rd is another big one. That it's some of the best competition in the state of Michigan, and love to get my kids out there and performing at a high level.
Absolutely. Coach Sims, thank you so much for your time. We'll leave one last question for you here before we go. What is the biggest thing that your team is really looking at as far as their team identity, their team culture, their team goals this year? If you could define it in a short phrase or as far as really a motto, what's this group this year? Who are they?
So our motto that we're going with this year is to leave it all on the track. Don't hold back. Go out there and give it your all, and do the best that you can do. We're leading this year.
Awesome. Well, we wish you the best of luck, Coach Sims. Thank you so much for joining me here today, and we wish you the best of luck here the rest of the spring season.
Thank you, Brandon.
Big thanks to Coach Sims. That's going to do it for us. We'll see you back here on Saturday. Be sure to subscribe. And until next time, Brandon Wirth signing off on the West Michigan Sports Show. We'll see you later.